What's up, everybody? This is Houston and Keaton Haynes with Wild Pursuit Outdoorz, and we're going to show you how we make our jug lines. Now, we know there's hundreds and hundreds of different ways to make jug lines throughout the years. We have figured, though, how we make these is what works best for us. Let's go. So what we've got is we've got a piece of 3/4 inch PVC. We've cut it at 16 inches, okay? So to start, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this PVC pipe glue. We're just gonna put a little on the end here to get this end cap glued on. So Houston's gonna hand me this. All you're gonna do is just push it on there, kind of like that, to where it looks like that. Next thing, you're gonna take a piece of pool noodle, and there's a couple different sizes. This is the medium size one. This is the one that works best for us. You're just gonna slide it on there. We've cut it at 10 inches, so it's a little bit short, okay? So now, after we get that on there, I'm gonna have Houston, he's just gonna put some super glue, or hot glue, excuse me, just right around here to slide it up to keep that pool noodle from sliding, okay? So now that we've got it glued on there, the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take this other end cap, and as you can see, there's gonna be an eye hook on there, okay? That's what we tie our string to when we, for our lines that we put in the water. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put some more glue on there, and we're just gonna put that on there. You're just gonna take it, push it on there where it seats real good, and then you're just gonna let it dry, okay? So we're gonna do another one real quick. We're just gonna do it at a little faster speed. Put your glue on there, take your cap, take your pool noodle, now we're going back to our other end. This is gonna be, like I said, this is gonna be the side that's got our eye hook on for our string that goes down into the water. And what we've done with that eye hook right there, we've just taken a drill bit, we've just drilled in the top of it, and it's a threaded eye hook that looks like that. It's got a little bolt on the, or a nut on the end of it. What you do is you just screw it down in there, take that nut, screw it all the way to the top where it seats down in there, and we just put some hot glue down in that cap so it just kind of helps hold that eye hook in place. So now that we've got these built, what we're gonna do is we've gauged that Houston's wingspan's about 5 foot. We like about 30 foot of line. So he's gonna do that 6 times for us, and then we're gonna cut it off, and then we're gonna attach it to this eye hook right here on the end. So now that he's got that done, and while I'm tying this on this one, he's gonna go ahead and give us 6 more. That way we can tie it on the second one. You can just drop your excess on the ground right here. Nothing special, guys, as far as tying this on. We just do a regular old knot, just like that. Tie it on there. You can do 4, 5, 6, however many knots you want to. Just whenever you tie it on there, if it looks good to you, then that's where you should leave it, okay? We've got that little bit of tag. We're just gonna take our knife right here. You can just cut a little bit of that tag off just like that. So now that we've got this on here, let me tie this one up real quick. So that right there was about 5 times. Like I said, it's totally up to you on how many times you guys want to do that. So now that we've got them made up, we've got our line tied onto our eye hook. what we're gonna do is we're just gonna grab the other end of this, okay? What you're gonna do on this end is you're gonna put a weight. It doesn't matter what kind of weight you use. What we use that works best for us is we just use a brick. There's about half a brick. You got any old bricks laying around? You can use those. If you want to order some weights off a line, that's fine. Like I said, this is just what works best for us. All you're gonna do is you're just gonna tie this on here a couple of times, kind of the same way you did with your other end on this eye hook. Guys, and what this brick does is when you put this in the water, whatever depth you're fishing at, is that brick's gonna go down and it's gonna sit on the bottom just like that. It's gonna kind of help, you know, hold your jug line in place there, okay? Like I said, we've got ours at 30 foot. You guys can adjust it. Even if you've got 30 foot and you're only fishing like 17 to 18, you can adjust it and tie it off on this eye hook. That way your access doesn't fall down in the water, okay? What we've got here too, this is a Cabela's, this is a 3-way brass swivel, 1/0. This is kind of what it's gonna look like. So we like to come about a foot off the bottom, or excuse me, a foot off the brick here. We don't measure it. It's however you just eyeball it. And what we're gonna do, we've doubled it up. Take that back out so you guys can see it. So we've doubled it up like that. We're just gonna run it through that eyelet, open it up, bring that eyelet through, and pull it through. That's not tying it on there permanent. What that does, if you wanted to ever take that off, you could. Or if you wanted to slide it one way or the other, that's how you could do that. So what we're gonna do is we're probably just gonna leave it about right there. What I'm gonna have Houston do is, now he's gonna take this black string again, and he's just gonna pull a little bit off, probably about that much. He's probably just gonna pull about that much off. Okay, not a lot. This is what you're gonna tie onto here, onto your other 3-way. Give it a good pull, make sure it's on there. I'll do this about 3 times, okay? Give that a good pull, make sure it's on there. And that is what it's gonna look like after you get it all tied. If you wanted to add another one on here, you could. We don't. That's just the 3 ways that we have. So what you're gonna do on this end is you're gonna take, we use an Eagle Claw 8/0 circle hook. That's what we use. And all you're gonna do is you're just gonna run it through there and tie your hook on there. However you guys tie your hooks, whether it be on your jug lines, what I do is I run it through like that. I do 1, 2, 3, 4. You may have to open that bottom back up a little bit. So you may not be able to do it as many times because this line's pretty thick. You're just gonna run it back through there. Grab your tag end and just pull it down. It's gonna tighten that hook on there. Should look something about like that right there. You just take your knife right here, cut that tag end off. Leave a little bit there in case you ever had to tighten that hook back up. We're gonna do the same thing on this one right here. We're just gonna do it a little bit faster. So you just come up, like I said, gauge about a foot, double it up, run it through, run it back through your line. You're gonna take this one, remember, go through your eye. We'll do this one about 3 since we had to open up the bottom. 1, 2, 3. do that. Houston's gonna cut that tag end off. He's gonna leave just a little bit on there.
I'm gonna go ahead and tie these.
So there's your first hook right there. That's what it should look like. So when it sits on the bottom, you'll have your bait on this hook. Whether you're using live bait, cut bait, or worms, that'll sit down there on the bottom, okay? I'm just gonna hook these back into this pool noodle just to keep it out of the way for us. While Houston's tying these other hooks on right here, we're gonna have 3 hooks on this. You can have up to 5, we only use 3. So just kind of gauge it. You'll just come up a little bit. I kind of like them right there. Like I said, double it up.
The end split on me.
Pull that back through. While Houston's still tying those, I'm gonna go ahead and add these. I'm gonna go ahead and add this last one. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Here's our first one, our second one, and our third one, okay?
That's probably a foot apart.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a little over, probably a foot. While Houston's tying the rest of these for me, he's gonna cut off some more line, and I'm just gonna continue to tie these hooks on here. This is a very simple one-person job. Houston and I like to do it with both of us just because it makes the process faster, kind of speeds it up a little bit. When we're making new ones, that means that our old ones we're having to replace some. So we're always wanting to keep these out as much as we can when we can. Like I said, just gonna hook this back to keep it out of the way. Grab a few more swivels, that way so like this one, like I said, about a foot, give or take. I'm gonna move through this one pretty quick. We're gonna tie this last one on right here. Always make sure that I give it a good pull, make sure it's not gonna pull out of there in case we catch a fish on it. I did mention a while ago, but what we're using a smaller diameter. It's just a wax string. It holds up pretty much about anywhere, whether you're gonna use jug lines, limb lines, bank poles. It holds up for about everything.
One more? Two more?
We've got, yep, toss one more.
One, two, three. This thing didn't slide right down.
I wouldn't recommend using your teeth like that, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. So this is tying our last one on here. Houston, if you would cut that tag off for me, please. All right, guys, so there you have it. That's tying the hooks on. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take all my hooks off. All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna walk this brick out here and sit it down. Now we're just gonna roll them up. We're just gonna roll them up kind of down here on the end. If you don't roll them up and you're putting them in a box like we have these other ones, you're just gonna deal with a big tangled mess. You don't wanna have to spend your time when you get out on the water untangling anything or anything like that. You wanna be able to get your jug lines out, get some bait on them and start catching fish. So what I do when I come to this first hook, is I just roll it right up to that three-way, wrap my hook around it a couple times, and then like I did a while ago, I just hook that hook back in there just like that. Keeps it in here, keeps the sharp end out of the way, and it's not hooking on your braided line, or excuse me, your wax line. Same thing with these other ones. Now we can set this brick up, it's out of the way. Roll it right up to your three-way. Wrap that around there a couple times. Just hook it back in there. Wrap your brick up to the end. All right, guys, there you have it. That's how we do our jug lines. That's what works best for us. So make sure, we're from Oklahoma, so on your jug lines you have to have identification markers. For the state of Oklahoma, what you have to have is you have your name, your address, and your identification number that'll be on your wildlife. If you have the Go app, you can get on there and it'll have your identification number. Make sure you put all that on there. You have to have it, okay? If you're not from Oklahoma, then get with your local game wardens or wildlife officers. See what's required for that so you make sure you're within the regs, okay? Like and subscribe. We're fixing to go put these out on the water and see if we can't catch anything.